What's good, freaks and geeks of everything called comic books? Yes. Welcome to the most amazing comic book podcast in the world. And we are Back to Basics, a comic book podcast. If you don't hear that at least 3 times in a row today, I'm not doing my job. So, this team, we're a team of passionate people around comic books, and it is unparalleled. So, we love comic books. Today, we're going to venture into some fun, and we're doing something a little different. We're actually going live. So, my name is Gen X, and I am a Porter Rock extraordinaire from Brooklyn, New York, by way of parents from the island of Boriken, also known as Puerto Rico. I'm also so excited to share my opinions and thoughts around comics and how they relate to our identities. That's my background a little bit. I'm an educator by trade, a businessman by discipline, and a hero all the time. And I love this community, so we're hoping that we can get a really cool conversation going today. We love building this community collectively. So, with that said, and here we go.
My name is let me get that right, Miss Ebony Keys from the Sunshine State, and I'm proud to be here with you all to throw some education your way while I captivate your minds that bring us back to basics. This trio has been working hard to change the game, and we don't do it without the support of our community, friends, and family, y'all. And
You know who it is. It's your boy Tempos coming at you, bringing a mix of comics culture to your ear. And I like to say I'm the biggest one that like to flex all my comics, and I'm going to hold it the title of most complete runs. Let's go. Let's get it back to basics.
that's what's up.
All right, so you met the team. You see our guest who's on screen. So give me 1 second. I'm just trying to make sure I'm having like so much feedback today. So that was fun. So let's talk a little about who we are and why we got together. We started this podcast to ensure and to make sure that the sanctity and the nostalgia that we have for these heroes, villains, and everything else in between is seen through a different lens. We believe that the stories told are a reflection of the human experience, and we go deep. We talk about issues about race, ethnicity, gender, mental health, and other human challenges that we might see throughout our lifetime. But we also are highlighting amazing artists, writers, and publishing companies, known and unknown, by interviewing them and giving them their shine. They deserve shine. And you can count on us to tackle themes and also make sure we're always bringing you back to basics. And as usual, we need you to do some homework, some easy homework. So I promise you, it won't be like you were back in school. We want you to tell everyone. We want you to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We want you to like and share. And we also want you to comment in the comment section in our YouTube station and channel. And most importantly, follow us on Instagram. Each of us are personalities in our own right, and together we are similar to what we would call the DC's Trinity.
Yeah.
But we all know who Batman is, right? I call dibs on that one. So,
Okay.
I mean, I am wearing the shirt, so
Okay.
just saying. But in all seriousness, we want your support and the dialogue today, and every time we pick up the mic, we will need you to engage. And this project and podcast is a direct result of our work as comic book sellers, aficionados, ambassadors, and collectors that felt we needed something different, authentic, positive, and pure again. We missed that, and we saw that there were some changes in our industry, and so we decided to collectively get together. So it's growing, and thanks to you all, the other support, we're looking forward to building more branding and also content around this. So we also want it to be different from other content out there as well. So not to throw any shade on anybody else doing YouTube stuff. I think they're doing great work. But we want to be professors and students at the same time within this space. We're always learning from each other and bringing things back to the great days of collecting. Again, back to basics if you haven't heard it at least 3 times today. So today we have a great show for you. First off, we're doing this live again. Like we said, this is our first time doing it live, and we hope it goes off without a hitch. So do me a favor, make sure that you're typing in the chat to let us know that everything's working fine and it's not problematic. Secondly, we want you to be very active in the chat. We'll be interacting with our guests today, with the content as well, and with us. We want you to interact with us. And we're streaming, hopefully successfully, via YouTube and Twitch as a multi-platform streamcast, which is so dope. Um, so we have a special guest today, and we'll be reviewing their pet project. Get it?
That was good. That was
Yeah,
good.
I know that was a corny joke. I know, but everybody out there, I know. I heard you laughing. I heard you all the way from the virtual space. So don't deny it when you see me and or hear me, in other spaces. But we're really excited to talk about terrifying Chihuahuas, and we're looking forward to the conversation at large. So here's a little something to give you some insight on our conversation. So we're going to play a little video here for you all to kind of sink your teeth into. So here we go. Here is Night of the Chihuahuas. Watch out now.
It's awesome. That was gave me
My
goosebumps.
gracious.
Right.
Those goosebumps are rising.
Oh my gosh, yes. So we're excited. I'm going to pass it off straight up. We're just going to jump into it because we want to make sure that we are doing our due diligence as folks in the industry, and also making sure that we give Nate ample enough time to talk about what's going on. But without further ado, my sister from another Mister, Miss Ebony Keys.
Thanks, Jid. Well, today's guest is Nathan Price. Let me give everyone a little origin story about Nate. A U.S. Navy veteran, thank you for your service, sir, who grew up in Northern California, who began working in the film and video industry right after high school and produced a few future films and wrote movie reviews. This led him to meeting David Curos. Well, I'm gonna get it right one of these days, Jr. When Nathan was reviewing his films, The Lonely Ones and Night of the Chihuahuas. In 2011, Nathan and David discussed making Night of the Chihuahuas into a graphic novel. Although the graphic novel was never completed, it set them up years later to turn that body of work into a comic book series by the same name. Today, 3 issues out of the 5 issue series have been completed and are being sold in 30 plus stores in 5 states, some of which have sold out multiple times. The team currently has a Kickstarter campaign running through February 2nd with hopes of raising funds to finish issues 4 and 5. Oh, and off topic, this man loves cats. Yeah. Now, now I see why we're talking about killer chihuahuas.
Oh my god.
So let's all take the time to welcome one of the brains behind this horror comedy about killer chihuahuas invading a small town, Nathan Price. And Tempos, let's see what you got to say. Let's start this conversation right. Start it off right.
So, Nathan, definitely an honor to meet you. Appreciate you coming on here. We do got a couple questions. Jumping into it, I personally definitely want to know the team, you, everyone else. Can you tell us about that? How y'all met? How y'all squatted up to, make this beautiful project that we all definitely read and enjoyed?
I love cat videos.
The greatest.
If you watched it, it's just a silly video, but
I watched it. Yeah, it was good.
So the team is very multifaceted. My wife and I work together. My wife is a graphic designer. She's kind of given us the brand, does a ton of work that probably doesn't get enough credit for. There is David Kiddos Jr. He's the author, also diehard to finish this project, puts in a lot of work. Josh Morello works with me on business structure, finances, some marketing. And then we have 2 investors who, Mark and Ryan, Ryan put in the money initially. So it was like me and Ryan riding around in the car, and I'm like, "Hey, my friend has this idea for a graphic novel. You want to put some money into it?" And he's like, "Okay." So that was in 2011, but um, that's really our team, like our core team. And we do have, hold on, let me make sure. We do have people that we work in coordination with, but that's us and um, two of the Mark and Josh are some of my oldest friends. Mark literally saved my life. Um, Josh puts me in check when I need to be put in check. Um, and Ryan and I worked together on I don't know how to put it subtly. We worked at an emerging industry in the state when uh, things changed legally in 2011. So let you guys do your research.
I wonder what that is.
I wonder. And then my wife, she's amazing. We've been married 17 years and
Nice.
been together 20 years. So
Nice. Oh,
That's
wow.
awesome.
Congratulations on that. All right. So, what prompted you to publish and produce your own comic books?
So when I wrote movie reviews and I met David, like it said in the bio, Night of the Chihuahuas it had heart. So David actually made a movie. Um, he went to school for screenwriting, and as he says, he felt he could do it all. He could write, direct. He even acted. But do you think he had like $1,000 and 3 unchained Chihuahuas and like one camera? So they went about making Night of the Chihuahuas. It was actually, I think, distributed, and it was not, in my opinion, it was not that good. But it had a lot of heart. And when you watch something or see someone that puts out a great effort, I wanted to like capture that and honor it. And and I'm not trying to talk down on David. He was just very limited in what he had to work with. The vision is there for sure. So working with Ryan, and at the time we had found an artist, and decided to move ahead, and trying to go to a comic book company with just an idea seemed inadequate. Having worked in the film industry for years, David and I actually made a movie together. Getting it out and making money is a whole different thing. So trying to start a publishing company and have control over the story and bring to life what we see is where I would say that started from, if that answers your question.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay. Nice. Got it. Got it. Okay.
Awesome. I'm up next, so we're gonna dive deep into the comic book itself, if that's okay. We had a blast. We actually, I think we had communicated with each other separately, then together, and then we were going through like the whole book. And full disclosure, if you're ever looking to do the animation part, I think we got that down pat. I think we figured out the
We got it.
draws. I think we
We
got
got
the yeah, right.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
Oh no, seriously, we really did it over the phone. So
Yes.
it's funny. So I think that might be part of our staple program in the future to actually read a book. And if I think if Venus, I believe Venus, she's a collector. Also did that once in her stream. So I want to give kudos in case I kind of borrowed from her by accident. But anyway, wanted to ask you a little bit about the premise of the book. If you could go into somewhat of a detail about the Night of the Chihuahuas, and why Chihuahuas? Because I know I've had Chihuahuas in my family, and they're probably the most vicious animals that I've ever seen. And some people probably think because of their stature, they're probably the nicest, or maybe they're just small animals. What kind of damage they can do? Let me tell you about my ankles.
Okay.
Let me tell you about my skin. They can pierce. They have
Right.
teeth. But I when I read it, I was like, makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. These are vicious animals. But what's the overall premise? If you could tell us about the book, as much as you can, because obviously you're still in flux with the rest of the issues coming up. But if you can give our viewers and our listeners some an overview and context about the book.
So do you want to like go back to the origin of how the idea was created, or
Yeah,
just the
yeah. Why don't we
Ooh,
start off with the origin of the idea that was created, how it changed possibly once you went from graphic novel, or even you did the movie piece, right, and then the graphic
Hmm.
novel concept, and then now you're looking at this five-parter, right, as a comic book. So, where the current iteration of that comic book is right now, would be like the last piece. So yeah, if you could kind of go through the evolution of that, that'd be awesome.
So I'm gonna try and channel my inner David right now, if I can remember this story. He said he's Latin. Growing up, his nanas had Chihuahuas, and they were always very mean. Um, and they would like come and attack the kids. They were never nice. Um, and we found out coincidentally that there's more Chihuahua attacks per year than any other dog, even
Wow.
because of their size. So I think David, when he was in school, I forget the name of his Chihuahua, but it was old, it was blind, it loved him to death, and it would like attack anyone else. So he got this idea in his head, like, what if the Chihuahuas had the strength to back up their attitudes? So that kind of splayed into making the story. There's a lot of uh, references to like he's a big horror fan, Night of the Living Dead, Resident Evil. Um, but these Chihuahuas, they don't get necessarily bigger; they just get meaner and stronger. They can chew through doors, flip over cars, kind of your not hive swarm thing going on. Like when you have a gang of zombies coming at you, it's hard to do that. So you have this pack of ridiculous Chihuahuas. Um, and I'm not sure if I'm clear, if I understand, but we started a Kickstarter in 2011 to be a graphic novel, and we didn't raise enough money. From the initial investment that Ryan put in, we were able to finish 30 pages. And due to some health concerns for me, we stopped for a while. The artist, we couldn't keep him around. And this is something I wanted to kind of bring up later, but the artist moved on, and we had 30 pages, and it's like, well, what should we do? Do you stop? So we
oh, wow.
decided to pick it back up and keep going. So, as far as the story goes, Leon, I think it's his first day as a police officer, and guess what his only fear is? Tempos.
So it was Chihuahuas. He don't like
Yes.
Chihuahuas.
Right.
'Cause I
No
was gonna
chihuahuas.
I was gonna do a spoiler, but I was like, oh, let me just skip it. I know you're gonna talk about it. I actually like that part of the book.
And there's I don't know all the references. I know Leon is the name is from Resident Evil, and there is just a ton of David is tricky like that. He likes to slide things in. I think he went on to get his master's in fine arts, and he was a teacher for screenwriting. And just a little side note, he's written several other things and had a movie recently produced and made. But yeah, it's kind of your run of the mill 80s horror comedy, um, you know, small town invaded by said Chihuahuas, and there's a lot of mischief, mayhem, and fun. It's a little gory. There's some curse words. My sons want to take the comic book to school, and I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea. but in all honesty, it's not bad. I don't think it's meant to like go out and be offensive. It's I will say last thing real quick is sorry. It's meant to be fun. Now, like I like what you guys are saying, back to basics. There's a lot of messages and things like that. This is kind of stripped down, and there's no political message. There's no anything. It's just meant to be sit down, have a fun time, laugh, cringe, all
Right.
those things.
No holds
Uh,
barred.
So that's kind of at the heart of this, is like just kind of back to basics of having fun. Um,
Right.
so that's I don't know. Once again, I don't know if that answers your question. Sometimes I feel like I talk too much.
Nah,
No,
that's
that was
definitely on point.
perfect. That
No,
was perfect.
you know, I think part of the lore of the book was actually, you know, it's a lot of these influences across, you know, different titles and things like that. But it was unique in the sense that as we start, you know, like I said before, we'd like to hear your story and who you are first, because then that way we can kind of get the full perspective. So for us, it gives a context for our viewers and our friends on the stream. I'm gonna test something out here. Oh, awesome! Yes, Marcus said, "Yo, he is one of our
Yo,
people."
Marcus.
What
Thank
up,
you so
Marcus?
much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. And then, as we start to navigate some of these, we are going to be doing a lot more lives, and hopefully, Nate, you could be a part of our lives in the future.
There you
Yes,
go.
please. I had to ask you guys, what do you think of the books?
Oh, can I go?
Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead,
yeah,
Tempo.
Timbo, he was waiting
Tempo's-
patiently.
He's been
So,
waiting.
first thing for me, I am in love with this cover. This cover, let me tell you about this cover.
That cover is fine.
It reminds me of so much, but just the look of it is like, I need to pick this up. I need to have it. I need to put it in my wall, and I need to read it. And then when you get into the book, it's like, yes, this delivers. That's all I would say right now. But my favorite character right now, I know I'm skipping Johnny, man.
Oh,
Johnny.
oh, you
Wait a minute.
copycat. Copycat.
I'm sorry. That's all I'm gonna say though.
Copycat.
Johnny.
Johnny is awesome.
Listen,
No,
go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, just real quick, that cover is fire, and
Yes.
you know the homage to like the Venom. I
Yes,
just wanted to put that
Venom
out there. That
number
was so
9.
dope.
Right.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Miss Keys. I'm sorry.
as soon as I got it in the mail, I had to get a picture of it, and that's what I posted up today. And you know, it's fire, man. But
Cujo.
Johnny, but Johnny, man, I guess because I live around a bunch of country folk, so I can relate to old Johnny boy. Okay, so Johnny, that's my man right there. That is my man. But
Did,
yeah,
did,
I love.
did you guys? Did you, Ebony? I'm sorry, Miss Keys. Did you realize that you got a different cover for number 2 than they did?
What?
Wait a
You know,
minute. Wait
you
a
know,
minute.
Mr. Rowe.
What happened? Ooh,
You know
I'm
what,
not
Nate?
showing
I know we were cool.
That's
Oh.
actually,
Yeah, that's the one I got. What did you get? I'm curious.
oh,
Ah.
come on.
The Jaws.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous.
It's all right.
If
It's
you
all
know
right,
me,
Nate.
you know I love variant covers,
He does.
and I love to flex my variant covers. And then now I'm
No,
jealous.
I can flex. See, this is my first flex moment. Thank you. Thank you, Nate.
I love that cover. That's a nice cover right there.
That's awesome.
I'll make sure to get you guys one. And if I can just speak real quick, like coming into this and not knowing exactly what we're doing, we made variant covers. We work with different artists. Our actual first cover was not. It was made by RC Torres, and it wasn't like super flashy. It was very indicative of the story. But as we've met people, we've gotten to work with different people. The cover, the Venom-esque cover you guys like, is by an artist named David Kerchek. If I understand correctly, David Kerchek works for Todd McFarlane Productions.
Wow.
Wow.
And that's his first cover. And I have the original sitting right over there. I'm going to hold on to it for a little bit.
Yeah,
For
I
a
would.
long time. Long time.
And he's got, supposedly he's got a couple more coming for us, and we want to work with him on issue 5, but it could be a scheduling thing. So yeah. But
Can't wait to see it.
That's gonna be
and we
nice.
did. I want to like pull out covers for you. I don't know what you guys have seen or not.
Yeah. Yes,
What?
please.
Of
Come on,
course.
bring it
Listen,
out.
You guys hold on a
I'll be
second.
honest with you,
Flex
Nate. Go
moment.
ahead.
Mr.
Nate
Flex.
is flexing,
He's
y'all.
flexing,
Just
y'all.
want to say we have a group of folks that love to flex, and Nate has just joined the group.
Yeah,
and he's indirectly flexing things that we can't even think about.
Okay.
Here comes Nate. Nate is back on the stream flexing hard.
Flex.
So this is, we just printed these and got them 2 days ago. This is Chizilla.
Oh,
Oh, what?
that's sick.
Yeah, that's
And this is from an artist named Albert Morales. He did the Fifi cover that you guys have, and this right here is Chihuahua Smalls,
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
okay. Nate, I'm gonna
I
buy
need
that
that.
one.
and
Yeah.
it says Smalls, and it's got the Cuban links.
Oh man. And I'm a big hip hop, Biggie Smalls, and you just brought that out. I
You
can't
did.
believe. I can't believe
I-
that. You did.
Our,
I need that.
our homie Marcus, he is very happy to see those. Not only did he say my man's got up, but he also gave you the flex and the fire.
Yeah,
In
you
the
won.
fire.
Nice.
That you won
Yeah.
today. You won the flex game today.
Yeah.
Got it.
So we've got a lot of things coming out, but it's, somebody said, well, oh, you're wasting money on creating variants. You need people to buy. I don't know. Part of it's having fun and being a fan. Like, I meet a guy, I have an idea. Like, I did what's called a mood board. Have you guys ever heard of a mood board?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I did a mood board for Chihuahua Smalls. This guy turned this cover around in 24 hours.
Wow.
And it's like, I like it. Well, no, I mean, we're here to make money, right? But it's like, at the same time, it's offering people a little bit more. If we were simple and we had one cover and we just sold that cover, it would be cool. It'd be fun. But it's
Right.
like when you can go, hey, look at this.
Right.
Nate, something you need to know is that you have a couple of Brooklyn boys in the house. Me, myself, and Tempos.
Yeah.
Right.
Just wanted.
I was just listening to Biggie on the way home. I was listening to Juicy. And he said, "Spread love is the Brooklyn way." I was literally just listening to that.
And Nate, we literally say that on the podcast in the previous episode. So yeah.
Yep.
Really
So,
nice.
thanks to
It's a
Tempos.
Brooklyn
You
thing.
definitely should look at our older
I
episodes.
feel like I made some new friends today.
You sure
Yeah.
did. You sure did. But you know,
Yeah.
I'm still a little jealous about the the Jaws. I have to buy some and support y'all.
you guys might get a gift in the mail. I
That's what's up.
I figured since Ebony has been in contact with me, and I'm kind of a spaz sometimes. I'm like texting or messaging all these weird questions. I was like, I'm gonna try to do something a little different. And
I appreciate it, but let me hold on to this moment real quick, Nate. Let me hold on to it, because the other two, they always get me every time. So
I didn't say when I was gonna send it. I just said I'd send it.
Hey, see?
You're gonna have it for like a year before they get theirs.
Yeah, all right. Let me show it to him one more time. Let me show it to him.
Oh.
Let me show it to him. Okay.
That is a dope
Nate,
idea.
let me tell you, knives are always pushed and then dragged upwards when people start showing runs or
Yeah.
exclusives, which is like, okay, that's
It
not
gets
cool.
real.
Oh,
So, Miss Keys, back to the program, Miss Keys. I
back
think.
to the program.
Back to
Okay.
basics again, right?
Back to
Back to
basics.
basics.
All right, so we already talked about their origin. Can you tell us a little bit more about their Walking Dead-esque appetite, like their appetite? Because throughout the whole, they're hungry. They starve. What's going on with that?
I don't know the answer to that. I'm gonna be honest. That's a David question.
Okay.
They're from what I remember, they'll say they crossed the border into southern Arizona, and they came from they'd eaten something. Oh, hold on. See, I'm gonna mess this up. And I should know it
It's not
better.
Popeye's chicken. That's
And
I love Popeyes.
I'm hungry now.
Okay.
For real. But yeah, they ingest something, and it. I don't know if he actually gives reference to why they're so hungry. I just know that they tear through just about everything. And if you like Johnny, you're gonna see him on fire throughout the rest of the thing. Like, that guy just comes to fruition.
Right.
I can't
Love
wait
it.
for that.
You know, I have to pull up that panel. You know which panel I'm talking about.
I know what you want. Go ahead.
I mean,
read it for
You
us.
know what?
The brother,
My favorite line in the comic. What's
he
that?
literally is out of his car, and he says, and I'm gonna quote. I'm gonna paraphrase just for the
Paraphrase it.
youngins around there. Hey, mother effers, I got your chew toy right here. I mean, when I read that, I was done, and I read it just like that. So it's
That was when I wrote that. When I read that, I was like, "Oh man, this guy right here, he don't care. He's
Right.
ready to get
No.
down."
Oh my goodness. All right.
But you know what? Speaking of that, I do have a question. So you kind of answered it earlier. So being that this comic is pretty much about the zombies. I don't know if they're zombie chihuahuas because we don't know what's going on just yet. We're trying to figure it out. I don't want to spoil everything because I definitely want everybody to read it. But
Right.
how did you come up with like that beginning genre? You kind of said earlier that it was kind of a horror. It has the horror theme. It does have a horror theme to it in the beginning, like Friday the 13th, and then a straight mix
Yeah.
into Walking Dead. Like it's a great mix. Like how did that just come up out of nowhere, or did that come up out of writing down the line?
I think that's more of like playing with tropes. If you guys know what tropes are, just general thoughts of how a blanket statement for a movie. So like it is basically formulated totally like an 80s horror movie. The first 3 pages are the girl scantily clad, like and then she dies. So
very Friday the
um,
13th ish.
so yeah. So I mean, and once again, David could rattle off like the guy's like a Rolodex of film knowledge, but he put that all into perspective of all the references. So I mean, it is trope-tastic. It's just he's taking that idea that's already there and just working it, and so yeah. I mean, it's like Sharknado, or there's just things that are so ridiculous. Snakes on a plane. You're like, I gotta watch that. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But I'm not saying Chihuahuas, but like Sharknado, like what? So
But it has that feel to it. Because I remember seeing Sharknado for the first time. Like, what is going? I cannot take my eyes away from this though.
and it's funny because a lot of people, when they hear of this, and I have friends in the film industry still, and they're like, "Man, you're gonna make a killing with this one day," and that sounds cool, But it is something that's so obscure and quirky that people would probably watch it if you filmed it.
Oh yeah.
Well, I would watch it.
I mean, they made a movie about killing tomatoes. I mean, why not killing chihuahuas?
And it's a
what I mean?
call
Yep.
classic. Yeah.
Hey Nate, you're getting a lot of love, especially from Dark Room. He just wanted to say, "Yo, thank you for blessing us with your time and knowledge." Want to make sure I give him props on that. But yeah, I guess we could keep going with the Q&A piece too. If anybody has any questions, make sure you put in them in the chat in our YouTube and or Twitch live. Again, we are live, so
Live.
have fun with us. Keep it respectful. I'm gonna put that out there. There may be children in the room, and so I will paraphrase if I have to. But just wanted to say, want to have fun in this space. I think one of the pieces to, I guess, the futuristic viewpoint, I know you kind of alluded to this a little bit, was you're not sure where the future of comic books is, and specifically what's the future goals for this book in particular. And so movies, TV shows, animated shorts, all the above, I would say you probably are like game for. But how can people, one, support you? I know there's a Kickstarter, and maybe you want to talk a little bit about that, but what's the end game? And I think this might be an appropriate time to pose the question that you posed to us behind the scenes in private about the independent industry or the independent publisher, and where we are at this phase in kind of like in the game of comic book now.
I feel like there's 2 questions in there. I'm going to try my best to,
Sure.
maybe even 3, to answer them well. So coming into this industry, it's been challenging. I do have a background entrepreneurial, a vet. I'm also have a license in and a certificate in physical therapy. I have a degree in physical therapy. I've done a lot of random stuff, and I'm hoping that it all comes together kind of. But to try to go the independent route, it's much more challenging than I thought it would be. I think I had talked to you guys about waffles, and so we have these comic books. They look great. I go out, I pay an artist, say, hey, thank you. Take that cover, sell it to somebody. I thought I would take that money, pay it to another artist. There's things like tax licenses. I've been threatened to be sued. There's just all these challenges, and one of the biggest challenges uh, that I wanted to talk about is working with artists. RC Torres left after 30 pages. He had other things to do. People have lives, they have to move on and work. So we had 30 pages. Well, do you throw away all that money and all that work? I didn't think that was smart. So we hired another artist, Albert Morales. Albert Morales finished the last 2 pages of issue 2, which I'm not sure if you guys saw the change in art. So he's a very good artist. He's worked with, from what I know, a lot of the major top 3 comic book companies. Well, we got to a point again where things kind of got put on hold, and now we've had to move on to working with another artist. So this is kind of a question posed back to you, because I'm actually interested to hear. On issue 4, we have an artist named Erica Ruiz, and then we'd like to finish off the series with DJ Kerchak, that guy that you guys have seen on the cover. And so the story is solid, but we're going to go through a lot of different things here. And, as an independent, do you give up because it's not going your way? I can't tie RC down and drag him back to the table and be like, you need to finish. I asked, I tried,
Right.
It didn't happen. So, are you kind of bound to fail? We have another project called Killer Hair. It's about a woman whose hair gets possessed and starts killing people. It's a lot of fun. It's maybe Rapunzel meets Venom.
What?
You got me. You got me.
Okay.
So I'm writing this one. David has been helping me with some of my structure, but it's another horror comedy. I like that feel. I've written several things myself, kind of evolving the topic here into where we're going. The end game for us, like for me, I would like to finish Night of the Chihuahuas, help our brand, which is Pork Chop Express, and be able to create more projects down the road. And as far as like merchandising and anything, it all comes down to, it's not so much about me getting paid. I mean, I told you guys a little bit about me before the show. It's not so much about getting paid as it is like, can we get money and continue to do things? So I mean, it's like this. Did I need to make this? No, I didn't.
Uh-oh.
That's dope.
Was it
Right.
fun?
Yes.
Was it? So it's like, if we were to pop off, movie, video game, toys, merchandising, that'll be great. The idea is to funnel the money back into creative projects and expand working with other people.
Nice.
Yeah, and hopefully creating jobs. I mean, it is art. It's still a job. I mean,
Right.
the work that the artists do is if you think about the amount of time and dedication that these artists put into creating like one panel, it's bizarre. Like, I think they should get paid a lot more. I just don't have that kind of money. If I could pay them like $500 a page, I mean, they could relax a little bit probably,
Right.
but it's yeah, I mean, we got to find that thing. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you talked, and maybe this is more of a collective conversation about the independent publishing lane at this point in time. And we saw successes, obviously, with Image Comics, with literally artists basically taking the reins and taking back their due, their due funding and money and their trademarks and everything that the big companies weren't giving them. And so thinking about some of those independents, and hopefully there's some folks on here who are independent heavy. I know almost vintage. He's one of our friends and family members out there, but he's big
Indie,
on indies.
yeah, to the
Um,
core.
and
Okay.
but when you look at when you think about like Image, you're thinking about also Valiant. They had a little bit more money behind it, and so you asked earlier, is it doomed to fail in a sense, this independent industry? And I would say it's yes and no. The only reason I say that is because I know of a few publishers, and we've been able to interview them in different capacities, but they've been successful. But that grind is 10 years old. I equate it to actors who hit it big, but they have to stick to it for at least 10 to 12 years before they even see they're just due. But but then you factor in the creative side. Like, what happens to your baby when those big major companies come knocking and saying we want to make a
Right.
full movie or
Right.
cartoon or animated series or whatever.
Yep.
And you kind of have to have flex, pull, and power in the sense, and that's why Todd McFarlane can do what he does. He can say when he's going to put out a movie, when he's going to do an animated series. But I think for folks who are trying to get their stuff out there, I think it is a bit challenging. So yeah, just wanted to put that out there. I think that's my perspective around the indie realm. I think for people who are indie heads that follow the storyline and how good
Mhm.
it is, they learn a lot. People are learning a lot about how to write in a much more artistic and creative way.
Outside the
Where,
box.
yeah,
Right.
completely. I mean,
Right.
there's storylines that you, like you said, there's storylines you're like, what? How did this happen?
Right.
Um, and then some people are big into was it the rom com type of situation? There's comic books that do that, and I hadn't seen any of those until I went to my local comic shop and he said, "You got to read this." And I'm like, "What? What is this?" And it's a love story, and I'm like, "Whoa, I'm not used to that." So I think that it ebbs and flows. I think it just depends on the niche and how good the writers are. The
Right.
artists definitely got to be on point. But
Right.
for if you could answer this for me as well, Nate. Not that we're going back and forth, but how do you retain those types of folks to stick around, or how do you do that? Like, especially if people are calling.
Um, I think it's just building relationships. I mean, in any relationship, let me just throw this out there on wide, not just comic books, but any relationship you get into, to actually get to know that person takes time. For any one of you that has been in love, it takes time to build that relationship. So I'm not saying I'm in love with the comic book artist, but the it's spending time with them, working together, going through things. There's an artist. Her name is Cora. She goes by numeric underscore turtle, and there was a horror show here in the valley. And sorry, I'm not sure if I'm answering your question. I'm just trying to give. We went to a horror show in the summer. David got COVID, and we went to a horror show in the summer, and the air conditioner broke. But we decided to sit it out. So Cora and I are in this thing, and we're just talking, trying to pass time. I went to Safeway, which is a grocery store out here. I know they changed across the nation, and I bought frozen peas. And we had frozen peas on our head, trying to cool down. I'm in Phoenix, by the way. It was like 110 that day.
Wow.
So and we laughed about it, but we got through it. I mean, those kind of situations, and you know, just working together. And I don't think you could ever fully rely on it, because, if somebody gets paid to do a job, you have to wish them well. Um, but I think it's getting to know multiple people. I have a 5-year plan you said 10 to 12 years. I have like a 5-year plan to like build a core team, and I have a mentor, and just hoping to keep those teams like DJ Kerchek, the guy, low key, like literal genius. The guy he went to Stanford. He's an amazing artist, but he's like also extremely intelligent. I just love talking to the guy. It's like I learn something every time.
Right.
But trying to keep these relationships up because yeah, I mean, you get into that level of art, you're gonna have a hard time not holding someone down, but getting to work with somebody at that level. So I'm just hoping to like nurture these relationships and I reach out. Do you guys know who Peach Momoko is?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
of course.
Big fan.
I've had a couple conversations with her. Just like I just thought like, why not? Like, I'm gonna
Right.
reach out, and I had a couple conversations, and the conversations were fairly short, but they were like I was just trying to see if she would do a cover, and she was very kind, and to me like I didn't really realize how big she was. It's like if Brad Pitt sat and talked to me for like 10 minutes, I'd be like, that's great. Like I feel cool. So, but she's committed, like contractually obligated right now, and she's like, I like your project, but I just can't do it. So, and then once again, it is like you judge a book by its cover in the comic industry. So, if Peach Momoko was on our cover, I would say a percentage of her followers would probably buy the cover just to buy it.
I would.
So it's like
Right.
guaranteed
I love
sales.
They're called fanatics for a reason, right?
Okay.
The Moko fans are huge.
I have a lot of Peach Momokos.
He does.
They
He
know.
has everything. Everything.
Can you
Complete
tell
run.
behind him? If you can't tell, he's an Alex Ross fiend. So yeah, he's collecting everything. I did have a quick question from one of our folks. He said, Marcus says, how much does a book usually average for an artist? I understand everything depends, but for instance, what would be a fair market cost?
Well, I think it goes by per page. So I've heard everything from $85 a page up to over $250 a page. From what I know, that over $250 a page is for some of the top agencies, or the top three. It probably could be more than that. So I would say we work within the $100 to $150 range. And if you have a 20-page book, 150, it's like $3,000 just for interiors.
Wow.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
So, and then you got to factor in the cover art, and then not only that, but it depends. Some people just do pens and inks. So, if you do grayscale or like for shading, or some people do text and the bubbles and text, and some people don't. And then you got to pay extra for that, or you have an amazing wife who can do that magically, but it takes her time because she has a family and her own job.
Right.
So
I guess I better get back to the my artwork. I got to get back and polish
Okay.
Right? I'm about to go to school for art.
Okay. My goodness,
That-
we're missing
great
out.
insight. A lot of us are looking to publish our own books, even myself, and I know it can be costly. I know that you all started Kickstarter as well to help kind of subsidize and support some of that. How successful has that been, and is that part of your staple on the regular?
No, it's the first time we've done it. It's been kind of an emotional roller coaster because, like, I don't understand algorithms. Everyone's like, "Oh, you just got to do the algorithms." It's like the worst. It's like the
Total
worst thing. It's
algorithm.
like you got to like catch the unicorn. Like,
Okay.
so you got to do videos, posts, and stuff. And this is on one social media channel, and then there's multiple social media channels. You got to get in the algorithm of Kickstarter. So right now we went for $1,000 as our goal, which we need more than that. We're at over $2,000 right now, from what I know, unless somebody canceled, which does happen. I found out. But if we started at 1,000, once you reach your goal, you can take that money from there, and it also is supposed to boost you up into projects we love. So once you get boosted up into Kickstarter's algorithm, then you are more visible for people. Because once again, when you have those waffles and people see the waffles, like, I'll try the waffles, and they're like, damn, this is delicious.
Right.
And I want to say something else too. If you want to do self-publishing, you can always be glad to help. But Pork Chop Express, I've heard of them. They're pretty good. And did anybody know the reference to Pork Chop Express?
I'm a Gen Xer, so yes, I do know the reference. Yes. Does anybody else know?
I guess I don't. I'm
All right. So how about this? Why don't we, in the meantime, because I'm gonna put my people out in Front Street, in the chat. If there's anybody who gets the reference, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. If you put it in the chat, you're a winner chicken dinner. So
winner chicken dinner.
all right. Nobody's biting yet, so I'll give them a minute. but I don't mean to take so because I'm really interested in this piece. Definitely want folks to also learn from us as well in this podcast. But there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes to do this. What's the plus or minuses when a lot of folks, especially, are doing variant covers? They're kind of basically doing their own covers with with shops, houses, publishers, people joining forces just to afford those. But what about the digital area? Because I know that also is another opportunity. I like paper, but have you all even ventured into? I know you have digital capabilities, but what are your thoughts around that in that digital age? Because people thought that comic books were, physical comic books were going to be dead, but that was the complete opposite. So what are your
blasphemy?
I don't know the answer to that fully. I mean, once a PDF gets out there of your book, it's out there. We've been using something called Issuu, ISSUU, which is a great thing. So nobody can take it, but if they have the link, they can share it. So we haven't really found a solution because a lot of stuff costs money. So we haven't pushed digital too hard. Digital is part of our Kickstarter campaign. I think just the hands-on copies is, I don't know. There's something to me about having a book in your hands. It's way more different than looking on your phone or the computer. I guess I value it more, but I mean, in terms of like people buying it and reading it online because they want to keep it crispy, like that's cool. So as we go through this, it's all learning. I mean, it's
Right.
one thing I wanted to say, because you said it, like, what are the things you've learned, good and bad? One of the things is I'm trying to learn to live with heartbreak, because you go through this and every so often it's like, oh, like you just, something happens and your heart breaks. So, and then did you ask something about working with artists on variants?
Yeah. So we've noticed in the industry there's been a huge influx of, for example, covers, even some of the parody covers that come up. We have a lot of these
Homages.
Yeah, homage to like Pooh and maybe even Jason and Freddy Krueger. Somehow Pooh is now a killer, serial killer at some point. So we have all these things, but then other folks are really getting into the game of these variant covers that they're selling as a team, and kind of putting their stamp on there, right? And that whole process. But I'm fascinated by the fact that folks like you, Sebastian Jones from Stranger Comics as well, he's another independent publisher as well. These folks, you all are literally starting from scratch, developing from the ground up, and really putting your money where your mouth is. The Kickstarter thing, I would love to pick your brain on a little bit later once you figure out what's going on with that. But I did want to, I guess the industry is changing so fast and quickly that it's becoming, some parts are becoming more watered down and the other ones are becoming much more robust in different ways.
Right.
So I just wanted to just put those 2 cents out there. All right. We're back to questions.
Nobody figured out pork chop.
Yeah, nobody
No.
answered the question, so you have to let us know.
All right, so there's a phenomenal movie in the 80s, and it's called, it actually has Kurt Russell, right? Yep. and it is called Nate. Oh my gosh, why am I blanking out? Oh, Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh,
Big Trouble in Little China, and that's where it
She
comes
knew.
from.
She knew.
You knew it, Miss Keys.
I was testing y'all, make sure y'all
You
were
knew
paying
it.
attention. I got this. I got this. I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? All right, so back to basics, y'all. Back to basics. All right, um, so we know that you're focused on a 5 issue series. But will the story stop there, or are you planning on doing more issues or more comics, or anything like that? And what's your plans? What's going on?
So, first and foremost, raise money. Anybody who's listening, got Kickstarter, please join in. Finish 4 and 5. It would be great to make our money back.
Right.
Like at least come back to, 0. Um, Chihuahuas 2, Chihuahuas from Hell is already written. And that's a conversation that David and I have going on currently because he's not a part of Pork Chop Express. He's an independent. He's writing books for a company called Aquatis Comics, owned by Rob. They're great. Kind of working with them and learning the ropes together. But David was like, well, I can't sell it to you, if we don't make much money, because, like if we don't make any money, he's like, I'm not going to sell it to you for $5,000. He's like, but if you make $10 million, it's like, I'm not going to sell it to you for $5. So we're trying to, I have, I think it's called First Right of Refusal or something in film where we can do that. So yeah, there's another whole series. And I told you guys a little bit about Killer Hair. And the idea is just to make more stories. Beyond Killer Hair, we have some ones that are more like coming of age stories that are more serious, have to do with hip hop, graffiti, breakdancing. But yeah, it's like we have a gun or a weapon full of ammo, and we just want to get to the range and take some shots.
Nice.
So and it's the idea is for all of us to have fun, meet new people, make new friends, and experience things together. Like when we all went to our first big con here in Phoenix Fan Fusion, we were like little kids. I mean, like literally like walking around kind of in awe, at our booth and trying to have conversations with people and running out of breath. And, but yeah, Night of the Chihuahuas 2, Chihuahuas from Hell, have the script. And David, I think he wants to expand the Chihuahua universe. So I don't know entirely what that means, but the man, he's a machine. I don't think he sleeps. I'm serious. Like either he's a vampire or something weird. Because the guy, he has a family, he has a full-time job, his kids are active. He has a podcast that he does with his wife called Date Night In, where they watch movies and review the movies and have a drink together. And he also writes movies and comic books. And the guy, he's amazing. So yeah, we'll see where the Chihuahua verse goes. I don't know.
Can't wait.
I can't wait either. That sounds awesome.
You heard it here first. The Chihuahua verse.
Chihuahua verse.
Poor Chihuahua.
Coming to you soon. Now.
So, if I can, I actually do have 2 questions. Kind of taking it back a little bit, what we were talking about. A lot of the characters, Officer Branch, Leon, Johnny, are those characters mainly from people in your lives, or did it just come up like off of writing the material? Because they feel like these people are alive, especially when you talk to them. We got like the officer; she's kind of a badass, we got Leon, even though he's a tough guy coming into town, he's scared of little puppies. You know what I'm saying? And then Johnny, he's just this guy that wants to. He put a gun in your face and hey, listen, this is my town. So, how do those characters come to life? That's really one of my first questions.
I can't speak for David again. I don't know his whole writing process. I've heard people say write what you know. And David he's just skilled at his craft. I mean, he's I really hope to see him like break forth one day because that guy's been working for it for a long time. So I don't know his process 100%. I could tell you with mine, there's always some reference. I try to keep it quirky, obscure, make some wild stuff up, but the character in Killer Hair is based on my wife. So
You thought he looked up?
uh,
Maybe,
it's not
maybe I love you.
it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. There's some relevance. So I mean my wife is on the shorter side. So this in this story, the character is a little bit shorter, and I see her struggles with people judging her based on her height. We talk about back to basics here, right? You know, these different things. Well, she's a strong woman, and she can power through and show most people that they're wrong. So it's really cool. But yeah, I based it on my wife. When I write this character, I'm thinking like, oh, this my wife would say this or do this. So um, yeah, she's not
just
going to
wanna-
watch this, right? You're not going to
she
show
is.
this to her.
She is.
These are brownie points. These are brownie points.
Then I can't confirm or deny that you.
Okay.
So my last question is basically what everybody's thinking about. When can we expect the next issue? I'm dying to know what happens next. I cannot wait. What can we expect?
So once again, just plug in the Kickstarter. Issue 3 is on the Kickstarter. If you can, please support us on there. It helps the whole project move forward. Get us in the algorithms. You can wait. I think next month we'll be releasing issue 3 to stores online. And it's just a progress. Like if you guys like if you guys have an LCS that you're familiar with and you walk in and say, I heard about this project, Night of the Chihuahuas, we've done everything grassroots. I went to see my grandma. I flew out to Minnesota and I went to comic book stores in Minnesota and walked around and just walked in like, I've got a comic book. So that's why we're in stores. I'm from Northern California, went all over there, but we're just trying to reach out. The Miss Keys, you know the girls from 305 Comics?
Yes, I do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're supporting us down there.
That is awesome.
Liana and Tina Michelle, thank you.
Those are my girls right there. Yeah, they always looking out. Always looking out.
Yeah,
The Florida
So that-
people here.
Yeah.
but it's like networking. I mean, like that's how you guys say you're starting off. Like we're all growing together, kind of doing it. So
Exactly.
if you want to get issue 3 Kickstarter or into next month, great to have the support. Oh, Almost Vintage is here.
He sure is. Hey, almost. I'm going to share my screen with you here. This is a crazy, crazy indie book called Night of the Chihuahuas. Hopefully y'all can see this. But I'm just going to scroll through and you can keep talking. Seriously, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait for issue 3. But this is
Well,
such a
those
great
those two
opportunity.
covers. Here, I'll show the covers again. Those two covers are issue 3. So,
Okay.
and you're going.
Here we go. Let me. Oh my gosh! When I saw that Chihuahua is vicious looking. My God.
Good.
So I put these two together.
Yeah,
issue
that's the
1 and 2.
connecting cover.
So
That's a
cool.
dope cover.
It is.
So these are two different variant covers, connecting covers. It's the Chihuahua Army.
And this is us trying to milk it. Like we had that one image, and it's like, well, how can we get more out of it? Well, let's take the thing, inverse it, make it a connecting cover.
I love connecting
Nice.
covers. It looks so nice. That guy, man, that guy's the one. That one is beautiful.
Oh, but look
And
at
it-
that
and
Jaws
it-
one. Look at that Jaws.
Jaws.
Ooh.
There goes the
actually-
knife once more. So
If you guys are hip hop heads, I've got a friend who is customizing some sneakers to look like Chizilla sneakers.
What?
Nice.
Anybody from Brooklyn? Besides me
Brooklyn.
and Tempos? Yes.
Yeah.
That's what-
Definitely hit
that's
the Kickstarter.
Yes, please support these amazing creators. They're just trying to do their thing, right? So
Right.
we can make it happen. I mean,
Right.
they're literally dope covers, great book. crazy as hell. I will never look at Chihuahuas the same way again. Especially the venomized ones that come down the street. I will
Oh
be
my
running the
goodness
opposite direction.
gracious.
But again, find them on Instagram, specifically Night of the Chihuahuas and the Kickstarter at bit.ly /killer dogs. This is the biggie
Oh.
one. I need the biggie one, by the way.
And real
Yeah, I
quick,
need that one.
the the killer dogs is capital K and capital D. It's case sensitive, so
Got you. Okay. So capital K and capital D. All right,
Yeah.
cool. Awesome.
Killer dogs.
Killer dogs.
Awesome.
trying to make because it's hard to spell Chihuahuas. You're like, oh, Chihuahuas. Everybody knows the word. They're like, like
Gotta sound it out.
Yeah. David always says wah wah.
What
So,
up, Vintage?
Vintage, he's one of our friends and family members here. We had talked to you a little bit earlier about it, but he said very nice work. I've researched it. It looks like a fun read. It is a fun read.
It is a fun read, vintage. That's spam.
Yeah, definitely. So we appreciate the support here for this book in particular. We're waiting for. I need to get that biggie one, and I don't know what
I
I,
love that
need
one.
to do. If I need to figure out whose child I need to give up.
Whoa.
What?
I have two friends here who have children. I may have to get that variant cover and be like, hey, do you need any other children? Here we go.
Listen, hey,
That
you
biggie
ain't...
one.
They might actually take me up on it.
No.
Let me take that back.
Okay.
That's a felony right there.
Oh my goodness.
So I definitely want to be mindful of time and want to thank all the folks on here as well. We would like to provide a time for you all to ask questions in the chat to us. If not, we're gonna keep it going. Question I have for you, Nate, is I know that these books are not cheap and they're awesome, but I was thinking about actually seeing if any of the folks who participated doing a giveaway for them to come and actually read the book and actually bring them onto a future stream at some point to actually review the book as well as an update it. Hopefully by the time we do that and the folks get it, they can actually we can talk about book 3 and maybe do a voiceover of the issue. That might be kind of cool.
I'm in. I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm
big.
Johnny. I'm Johnny.
Okay, quick.
Johnny.
Okay,
Yeehaw! Got it.
They're gonna do they're gonna have a fight over Johnny. This is amazing. Amazing. He's probably like the toughest character and also the one that you don't want to be. So
Okay.
yeah.
Oh goodness.
So
Nah, don't put my man Leon down like that.
no,
He's
Leon,
in the town. Like let him.
I
You know, we still got more characters that we haven't seen yet, like the scientist.
No.
I'm really definitely wondering who the scientist is. Johnny said this guy just moved in, all this stuff happening. So
the mayor.
yeah,
the mayor.
Yeah.
I definitely want to see what's going on with all these other characters that's going to be introduced later on. I can't wait.
Mhm.
Again, if you have any questions, put it in the chat. As we're winding down our time together, we want to make sure that you get all your questions answered, especially not just about this book, but also, again, as you've seen, we were talking about the industry, how to get in and what it takes. It takes a lot of work, a lot of managing of people, time, just like any other business. So I'm going to have Ms. Keys kind of get us closing on the tail end and kind of talking to us about any other lingering questions we've had out there.
Well, the only two questions I have are, the first one is, we already know about Killer Hair, but are there any other titles coming out from Pork Chop Express? That's my first one. I'll let you answer that. Go ahead.
There's other stories. There's other stories. They're all in development. If I can be vulgar, when we go to comic book stores with my kids are 11 and 8, two boys. When my wife walked in and she's all I see is demon porn in here. So I started a story called Demon Porn.
Okay.
Okay.
and
Alright.
it'll probably, the words will be changed around a little bit, but it's based off of our exploits into this new industry, and it takes some wild and weird turns. There's another one called Mind the Gap, which is a coming of age story about a young boy. Um, and it's it's like Charles Dickens with a hip hop theme. So it's kind of I try to create things and think of things that are different, but there's this thing that says there's nothing new under the sun. So like all the stories have been done, there's tropes, but how can you make something new and fresh and fun? Like if
Right.
you watch Scott Pilgrim versus the World, when you saw it, you were probably like, wow, like this is something you've seen the story,
Yeah.
you know the story, the revenge, and but the way it was done was just so much fresh and fun. So it's like, how can you take something, make it new, feel good, and that's what I'd like to accomplish with my writing. And then, yeah, and I have probably 8 projects on deck, and I
Nice.
want to step away from the business side and work on writing more. But right now, it's um it's a lot of business, and I don't like it.
Oh. Oh.
You
I'm
sound
not
like
a business
you
person. I'm a
want to be
people
Mr.
person.
Julie.
I I don't know, like business. When somebody threatened to sue me, I got a text at like 9 o'clock at night. I'm getting ready to like wind down, and this came up, and I just like, how you get that fight or flight response, like you feel the blood rush up, and I don't want
Right.
that. Like, and it was something trivial, and the guy misunderstood. Well, it took 2 weeks to figure it out because he was angry. Well, once we cleared the air, it's like, oh, no problem. Like, it's not how I felt for the past 2 weeks.
Right. Right.
So, yeah, I would just like to write.
Okay. All right. Well.
Definitely looking forward to those other 8 though.
Okay. Well, I think the main thing is, like you were saying, you're having fun with it, and it's, for me, reading it, it's different. It's, you have a vision and you're going with it, and that's what I like about it. So you do what you got to do, because I don't see anything wrong with what you're doing. You're doing great things, and I like that. I like that.
Thank
I
you.
like it. I
Thank
like it a lot. Yo, you're welcome. All right. All right. So last one. I know everybody's is getting sleepy. It's getting sleepy. But no, I'm just kidding. But I know you already mentioned about the Kickstarter, but I know there's a lot of people that just jumped in a little late, or they're just now joining us. But can you please remind people where we can get these books, and also your social media presence, and also the information for your Kickstarter?
First off, I would say go to your local comic shop. Chances are they haven't heard of us.
No.
You can go in there and say, "Have you heard of Night of the Chihuahuas?" Try to drum up some interest. That would be super helpful. Um, if you guys have any leads, anybody that I could, the owner of a shop that I could call, totally cool. Nightofthechihuahuas.com. You can order from there. Our Kickstarter is, let's just go with the bit.ly/capital K killer capital D dogs, and that's our campaign running until February 2nd. Our social media right now is mostly Facebook and Instagram. Facebook.com/Night of the Chihuahuas, Instagram.com/Night of the Chihuahuas. HUAHUAS. It's wah wah. Um, wow. um, but I think that's yeah. I mean, anything. It's like a grassroots movement. So any support, little things like that. The girls from 305, the lovely ladies of 305, have told me they will go into a shop and be like, "Have you ever heard of Night of the Chihuahuas?" and just leave it at that. It's like, cool, I'll take that.
Okay.
Like it's getting the word out there. So
Right.
we get on people's radars and show them our waffles.
I
Well,
love
send
that
the waffles here to Florida. Send the
Yeah,
waffles to Florida.
I live right by a comic shop. My LCS, my favorite LCS, Yancey Street. I'm definitely going over there tomorrow. He needs to read this because I know
Well,
he's a big horror fan too.
No, I mean, you could even, if you took your your copy in and just showed them. Like
Definitely.
that's I will send a copy to a store just to like show them what we got. I mean, it's part marketing, so. Um, but Miss Keys told me I can't send you guys any Jaws covers for some reason. She messaged me.
As long as you give me the
Nope.
Boogeyman, the boogie one, I'm cool with that.
This
Yeah,
one's
that
mine. You
If
see
it
that? You
comes
see?
out. That's
I'm
it.
hating.
Dun.
I'm hating on on that one, but that Biggie Small ones.
Yes.
That's all I'm gonna say.
All right.
Just Nate, send me those first before you send it.
You're like quality control. Miss Keys
Quality,
is
quality control. Yeah, quality
Yeah.
control.
So remember, the Kickstarter it's essential. Let's get the support, the funding needed at bit.ly / killer with a capital K and dogs with a capital D. All right, make sure you do that. On another note, as you know, we're trying to grow and expand as well. So make sure you follow us on YouTube at Back to Basics Comic Book Podcast. That's where you can find the other episodes and this one in particular. This is our first live one. I think we had a great time with
Definitely.
Nate. And thank you so much for volunteering to come through. Again,
Thank
here
you.
is the Back to Basics. We got tickers. We got all types of stuff for you all.
Yes.
So if you are looking to be a part of the community, please follow us. And each of us as individuals, I want to give kudos to Nate for coming in and literally holding it down for the company.
Yes, Nate. Thank you.
And we appreciate you.
Definitely. Can't wait
All
to
right.
have you
Thank
back.
you guys.
Any
Thank you so
other
much.
last words, Nate? Was there anything that you left on that you didn't leave on the table, or you left on the table? I don't know what the verbiage is, but anything that you would like to tell folks before we head on out?
Well, I didn't get to ask you my question.
Go ahead.
So I don't know if you got enough time. It's like a detailed conversation. So I was going to ask you guys, but maybe you'll invite me back and then I could ask my question. I just want to like hook you with that and.
Nate, how about this, Nate? How about this? Let's talk about it. So this is this segment called After Hours, the after party. So go ahead and ask your question. We'll stay on.
Oh, okay.
And we still want you to come to future shows.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I got to think of a good one. Because it's part of the fun of getting to know you guys. So, favorite celebrity run-in. Have you guys ever had a celebrity run-in?
So I kind of celebrity Sam De La Rosa. When I met him, he's an artist. I was shaking because he's one of my favorite artists, and he made Venom Lethal Protector, and I was kind of shaking when I met him, and he was like, "Son, are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I was you Sam De La Rosa." He's like, "Son, come over here, bring your hand over here. Let's do something with that." He shook my hand. I was like, "Oh my!" I was shaking Sam De La Rosa's hand. I was like, so he was pretty cool. And also, I did spaz out when I met Jason David Frank. I did meet the Green Ranger a couple months ago. I did a video with him. Had great pictures. He signed 2 of my books. I love that man. I grew up with the Green Ranger, so meeting him was definitely an honor. Especially the tragic thing that had happened. But rest in peace. But that definitely, I'm glad that I was able to meet him also. But that's my two.
He said 2. My goodness. Wow, Jesus. Well, I guess I was like 12 or 13. I don't remember. It was back in the day when I was a youngin. I was a youngin. We have a club here. I don't know if y'all know about Club La Vila. I know if you are in Florida, if y'all lived in Florida your whole life, then you would know about Club La Vila. Well, I met LL Cool J, OLL. That he was having a concert there, and my dad actually let me go. He took me there, and I met LOLL. About had a heart attack, but I was 12 or 13. But it is what it is. But those are that's my celebrity run-in. That's my celebrity. Yeah, that's my celebrity.
Growing up in Brooklyn, we get to see all types of people just walking down the street. I'm gonna tell 2 funny stories, and part of them is because it's my wife. My wife is like, she spots folks from far away. But we were in New Orleans and we saw Jessica Lange, I believe, and she had just finished up the American Horror Story, and she's walking down the street and I say, "Hey, hon, I think that's Jessica Lange. She had a hat on or whatever." And don't you know my wife beelined it over to us? She goes, "I want to be part of your coven." That's what she said. Can I be part of your coven? And I was like, you should see my face, my hand. I was like, oh my God. And the woman was so cordial. She was so cool. And my wife was like really awesome. And then, it was a moment. And then the other time, I don't know if this is a pattern. I was in Brooklyn, Fort Greene, and we saw Christina Ricci walking down. And my wife yells out, hey, Christina, like she knew her. And Christina turned and was like, oh, hi, how are you? And I thought they were going to have a conversation and whatnot, or sit down with some in the park and drink coffee. I didn't know.
Right, let's go have lunch.
But she looked mortified because she was trying to figure out if my wife was like a producer or something, because she was so confident in like the way that she approached herself. Those are my like celebrity, like, but it's kind of tangential. It's like I'm connected to my wife doing that, so I don't know if it's mine. But I met some.
You were there.
People. Yeah,
Claim
it.
it.
yeah.
Own
Like,
it.
Please, I don't want to be embarrassed or the cops will come and get me. It's some crazy situation, but yeah. Well, how about you?
Right.
Who
I was
going
gonna ask that too.
Run into.
I've had a handful. One of my favorites was we were working on a movie in LA, and I went to go to a production company, they carry lights and everything. I forget the right name for it. But I go to the trailer, and they, where all the paperwork is done. And I walk in, I open the door, turn the corner, and Jason Statham is standing right there.
Oh.
I literally froze. I was like, I just stood there. I literally stood there. I didn't move. And he walked by me, and he's like, hey, he's like smiling. I mean, I guess as a celebrity, if you get that, it's probably pretty amusing.
Nice.
But I mean, like I was like that, and the lady at the counter was just like, "Yep." I was just like, "Oh." Man. He was filming Crank 2 because he was wearing the outfit that he was wearing in the movie, and I felt like kind of like a fool, but it was. I mean, it was cool, like it was just cool to like. I guess it was cool to freeze up.
He's a badass. Yeah, I would too.
and I'll tell you one other one is I met Danny Trejo at a film festival.
Nice.
And what was bizarre, I didn't talk to him too much. He was nice. He took the time to talk to me. When I shook his hand, he had the smoothest hands I might have ever felt. I'm like, this dude is like the roughest,
right?
Like dude ever. And maybe he had like a fake hand. I don't know. Because I shook it, I was like, "Why is his hand so smooth?" Like the dude looks like he looks like a rough-and criminal. Like he's great moisture.
Man, when you get older, you gotta make sure that your skin is supple, and you gotta get that oil overlay. Yeah,
right.
Yep.
Lots of cocoa butter, and
make sure your skin's nice. And he's been in a lot of movies, especially with Quentin Tarantino, work and everything. He's been in a lot of movies. I wish I met him. That's dope that you met him.
And his story is amazing too. It was somebody who just we walked off the street onto a set, and they were like, "Yeah, we need somebody to train someone to box," and he was like, "Yeah, I can do it." That's crazy, insane. Yeah. Well, Nate, we know that you're phenomenal. I'm glad we were able to showcase you on this podcast, the Back to Basics, the comic book podcast. As I said before, on behalf of our family here, you are always welcome. I hope you chime in our next live, or even just check out our YouTube channel page. We're looking forward to building this out in any way that we can help each other out. Let's do it, and we're all family at this point. So definitely, you feel
Thank you.
Family.
Thank you.
So
you're welcome.
On behalf of the team, or maybe we should just all sign off. I'm Gen X.
Miss Ebony Keys.
Your boy Tempos.
You know who he is. We want to thank you all, everybody who came through. Make sure you check out Night of the Chihuahuas. Help support and get that 3rd issue out there, 4th issue and 5th issue. And let's build up together. That's the only way we can do it.
Let's do it.
So thank you again, Nate. And tell your team thank you for letting us borrow you for this amount of time. I know you but we're really grateful, and we thank you in advance.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for having us on.
Awesome.
All right.
Bye.
Nice meeting you.
Bye.
Love you guys.